and I had to do math, and math kept looping over and over, and no one wants that. Hello everybody, welcome back to Soul Studios. I'm your host Soul, and today we're talking about how my mom kept us home to teach us school things. I was homeschooled. No, I wasn't abused because of it. No, I have not suffered in life because of it. I actually think I learned a lot of practical things in comparison to others. I wasn't sure how to come at this topic because my experience is very chill compared to others. Like, I've seen adults posting on TikTok about how they were homeschooled and their parents could hide abuse better because of it, and I go, what? So I've decided to do just a big overview, and I've made some questions based on what I've seen on the internet, which means I found a big list of homeschool questions, and I made questions based off them that you could ask to an actual student instead of a parent to sue me. First, we have to open on where I was homeschooled, because believe it or not, the rules for homeschooling vary depending on where you are. Are you ready, guys? Huge chunk of lore here. You will know where I grew up. North Carolina. I'm going to give you guys the list of rules my mom gave me when I texted her to the letter, because it's much simpler than what I had looked up, and it's not quite so wordy, and it makes a little bit more sense, but it's very short. Ready? Here we go. 1. You file a notice of intent with the state. 2. You homeschool on a, quote, regular basis, unquote. 3. Make a standardized test once a year, or take a standardized test once a year. 4. Maintain any medical records. That is a very simplified version of things, but the gist of it is that 1. You have to tell the state you're homeschooling. They have to know that you are homeschooling. You actually have to, make a homeschool. You have to make your own little school that's in your house, and you have to give it to them, as far as my understanding goes. You have to homeschool on a pretty regular basis. Homeschooling in the summer varies from family to family. I was homeschooled through the summer. The breaks we got were when we went on vacation, and if there was something big that was going on that required my parents' attention and they were tired. So our breaks added up together were probably the equivalent of summer, but I don't know. You must do a standardized test once a year so that the state knows you're doing your job, at least a little bit. The kids are learning somewhat. And you gotta maintain medical records about the medical things, because medical. I actually have no idea why that one's in there, but it's fine. There are a lot of questions with that, and that's okay. It's why I have the list of questions with me. These rules vary state to state, and North Carolina is rather chill in its rules compared to other places where you have to submit, every lesson plan to the state. They have to know everything that you're teaching your children all at one time, all the time, blah. So, basically, with us being in North Carolina and the rules being pretty flex, my mom could do whatever she wanted. She made me do math, and I think that's the greatest abuse here. With all out of the way, let's do some questions, and hopefully it'll cover a lot more. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Did you do school every day? No, absolutely not. But a really good thing about homeschooling is that even when not in a classroom setting, my mom would still teach us stuff depending on what we were doing, where we were going, what she may have been doing in a day. She made us do animal reports at the aquarium one time. It wasn't even a surprise aquarium visit, and she was like, oh, by the way, we're doing animals. We went to the aquarium to do animal reports, not to just be at the aquarium. She ruined the aquarium, guys. I'm kidding. I don't remember that trip very well, but I see pictures of it all the time. Did you use a computer or just textbooks? Both! Mostly textbooks, since we only had one family computer growing up. My mom had her laptop, but the family computer that was in our classroom was the only one that everyone had access to. Sometimes we'd all circle around the computer in our little classroom, and our mom would show us an educational video. We did a long bout of etiquette videos, social etiquette videos, what you're supposed to do and not supposed to do in social settings. Almost none of that stuck. Sorry, Mom. What subjects did you have? Basic stuff, math, history, language, science, I don't know. I think we did all the basic necessities, and Mom made sure of that. And then a bunch of extra stuff, such as Spanish, art, more history. I did a study of the U.S. Constitution, and it was one of my favorite classes ever. Astronomy, I think that astronomy and astrology are two different words. Astrology is star signs, astronomy is the study, I think. I may be wrong. Let me go check that. Let's do a Google search real quick. What is the study of the stars called? Astronomy! I was right! It's astronomy! Wait a second, I gotta go back to my script. That was entirely unscripted. Anyway. Where was I? Yeah, astronomy, biblical stuff, more science. You couldn't go to the principal's office if you were at home. What did you do if you got in trouble? My dad was the principal. If you did something stupid, you got talked to, and if you continued being a loser, a stronger punishment would follow. Yes, I was spanked as a child. Yes, it sucked then. No, it hasn't really affected me in the now. You'll be like, well, then will you spank your kids? I don't know, man. We're not on that topic right now, and I don't have kids right now, and I don't know what I would do in a circumstance. My husband and I would cooperate. We don't have kids! Did you ever fall behind in schooling? Sure, who didn't? I did end up graduating. I hit all the milestones that I needed in high school to graduate. I walked the stage at our church because that's where the co-op was, and I was given my diploma, and it was great. Did you ever want to go to public school? Not really. I had friends that were in public and private schools, and they were all jealous of me, so yeah. I heard horror stories, and that was part of not wanting to go. I'm sure there was a time when I was like, I want to go to public school, and it's so much better there, but I was a child and didn't know what I was saying. What about social interaction? I had friends. If your mom knew a fellow homeschooling mom, you were going to interact with those people's kids no matter what. You just were. I also went to a co-op where a bunch of homeschool kids get together, and people who actually have education, like college education, teach us stuff. I said that like homeschooling kids don't have education. People who have like an education in a specific field is what I meant to say. That's what I meant. We had a meteorologist teaching us like a whole class on weather and like global mess at one time. I wasn't in that class because it was like an elective thing, I think, but it was still cool. It might have also had something to do with my grade. I don't know. I was taught art by a graphic designer who went to school for that stuff, and she actually did graphic design for companies and stuff, and it was really cool. What about sports? Homeschoolers don't have sports teams. I didn't really enjoy sports. But there are options for people who do. There was this program called Upward, which was a Christian-based sports thing where kids, regardless of school or not school, could be a part of a team and suck at sports together. Churches also did like sports teams, and I think like a county or like just their area had little sports teams that people that lived in that area could be a part of. We did t-ball like that. I did softball one year. Hilarious story. That softball team sucked. We didn't win almost any games, except me and my family went to Disney one week and we missed a game. And that game, they won, which tells me I just don't need to do sports. What did you do during COVID for your co-op? Zoom meetings. Really laggy Zoom meetings. Is your mom qualified to teach? How dare you question my mother's integrity? Yes, my mom is qualified. She's my mom. She can literally do anything. In all seriousness, yes, my mom is qualified. Any homeschooling person is qualified. You went to high school. You know what this stuff is. She did all of her schooling. She went to high school. She graduated. She went to college and was a teacher in public schools for a time period before children ruined her life. Is your dad qualified to teach? My dad worked mostly, so he wasn't there in the mornings when we did regular school. But he did teach us financing, which is a huge thing. I wouldn't be as good at keeping up with money as I am now without my dad. I think he would kill me if I went into debt. Not really, but in all seriousness, he did teach us a lot about financing. I've been taught how to do taxes through my dad. I've been taught about bank accounts and saving and getting a house and getting a loan and all this stuff from my dad. And I think if I hadn't had those lessons, I wouldn't be doing so great in life right now. Everyone needs their dad to teach them financing. Last one, were you a Christian household? Because this is a trope. Is that why you were homeschooled? Yes and no. We were a Christian household, and my now household still is. My husband is a Catholic. I am in what he calls Protestant. I've always gone by Christian because I don't really belong to a denomination. So my household still is. But that wasn't the entire reason we were homeschooled. Both of my parents went to public school. My mom was born in the 80s and 90s is when, no, 70s, 80s, 70s, 80s, maybe the early 90s, I don't remember, but that's when my parents went to school. And they knew how bad it could get for kids and teens, and especially now and in this whole, like, time period when school shootings and bullying are such big issues, they wanted to protect us. They did also want to instill like a faith-based education with us, and I do not blame my parents for that, and you guys shouldn't blame my parents for that either, because I was also taught to literally question every belief I have, because if I only believe in this stuff because my parents believed in the stuff, then I don't have a real belief in the stuff. See where we're going? I was taught to think for myself. Very good. And that's about it. If you guys have any more questions, then please just ask in the comments or message me on one of my many platforms. I'm not afraid of being questioned. It's why I made this video. Being homeschooled has made room for a lot of things, I think. A lot of extra activities that I wouldn't have gotten to do otherwise. Just a lot of stuff. I've never been bullied for being homeschooled, by the way. There was this one time that we went to a band camp thing. I was in a band, not a marching band. I was in a church band. I played piano, we rocked, it was dope. And this kid was talking bad about homeschoolers without realizing that she was circled by like 10 of us. And we almost beat her up. Not really. Me and like 3 other homeschoolers were ready to start things right there, but that was about it. That kid was actually kind of mean to the entire time to everyone, not just us. So, yeah. I am biased towards homeschooling, but also I know several people who went to public school and are the nicest people ever, and are some smart people too, so it doesn't really matter where you went. Well, for the education bit, it does matter where you went to school and who you were taught by. For the personality bit, it just depends on how you were raised. I have met so many young people who are going to school now, and they don't know things that they should know, and I'm pretending to not worry about it, and it's fine. But there are also a lot of really smart people out there, so I'm sure they'll balance each other out someday. I won't neglect the allegations and research that says homeschool children get abused, by the way. I will say that I did a Google search, and I don't really trust Google searches, so bear with me. And the articles, not Google itself, the articles I saw didn't really land on an, oh, homeschoolers get abused so much more than public schoolers answer. I think a better answer is that a lot of kids get abused overall, and a parent or relative or whoever who is set on being an atrocious human being will be an atrocious human being, while the person they're being an atrocious human being to is in public school or homeschool. They will find a way, they just will. I guess being homeschooled would allow for that abuse to go unnoticed a lot more, but also every homeschooler I've ever met has never been abused, and I've met a lot of them. And I do mean a lot, like more than other people do, because my mom is part of the homeschool convention board in our state. So that's cool. I will say that I have no idea what the fear of public schools feels like in this day and age. I have never experienced a school shooting. I have never been bullied. I have never had any of that on my shoulders. So all respect to you guys. I know y'all have a lot you're going through. And that's about it. If someone is in the North Carolina area and wants to know more about homeschooling, I would go check out the North Carolinians for Home Education, or NCHE. They have a website and a podcast that my mom helps host, and they put a lot of work into what they do, and they have a lot of answers to things that I don't have answers to. And they hold a homeschool convention every year in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's not free, I'm sorry. Or if you're not close to that area, if you're not in this state, find a homeschool co-op, look on Facebook, they'll pop up out of the woodwork, I promise. And you can ask them questions. And you don't have to take my word on any of this. All of this is just my experience. My experience has been incredibly positive. Some people haven't had good experiences. Homeschooling is not for everyone, but it worked for me and my family, and I'm grateful that it did. And yeah, I'm sorry if it didn't for you, and I also am sorry if you've been abused. I, too, have been abused, but it was not the product of homeschooling, and it was not made worse by the fact that I was homeschooled. It was completely unrelated. I feel you, and if you haven't told anyone about that, I would do that, unless you don't feel safe to. In which case, I hope it gets better for you, 1000%. And I am here if anyone needs to talk. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Y'all stay safe, drink some water, remember to breathe, and I will see you in the next video.